I am so grateful for Western medicine. You want to know why? Because in a medical emergency,
I completely agree with you 100%. And I think that there's such a big misconception about people that are passionate about holistic health or want to lead a healthy lifestyle. They just kind of assume that we're like extreme people who lack common sense, which I don't know, maybe there are some people that do, but that's not the case for everyone. I know for myself, I think that the hospital is extremely valuable and people would definitely not live as long if it didn't exist or if it was the way that it was even 200 years ago. The techniques, that they learn over time and improve on definitely save people's lives. Surgery is absolutely necessary. Uh, we would not be where we are today without it. So I just want to say that. Now, if you have a chronic illness, I personally don't think that Western medicine is particularly helpful because a lot of it is about managing symptoms. That's just what allopathic medicine means. And that's okay. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it because, for example, if you're in a hospital and you've had surgery, you want to manage someone's pain, aka the symptoms they're experiencing, right? So it makes sense when you look at it from that perspective. But when someone's coming in and, they have chronic pain in their joints, throwing medicine at them like doesn't really help in that situation. So it really has to be a case by case scenario, You can't just, make like an executive across the board decision like, oh, it's bad in every single situation because that's just not the truth. Also, if somebody had a heart attack, a stroke, or an aneurysm, you absolutely need to go to the emergency room. There's no tincture that's going to help you in that situation. Unless you have some kind of death wish and you'd like to die, you should seek emergency help. Now, after you are seen at the hospital and treated, and if you want to figure out what caused this event in the first place and get to the bottom of it, I encourage that. And I think that that's very wise. And holistic medicine is great for that. But while you're having an emergency, no, you need to go to the hospital where the doctors are and the surgeons. I think that the issue that people have is that they don't use each type of medicine in the right circumstance. So for like a lot of illnesses and diseases, like you can help them like holistically, meaning like there is some type of cause that is causing someone to be sick and you can get to the bottom of it and treat that root cause and then that person no longer has that disease. But again, like when someone has an emergency, like a heart attack, there's nothing you can do in that moment. You have to stabilize the person in the hospital. And that's just, using common sense and logic. But obviously this person has a weakness, with their blood vessels and arteries that you can help with nutrition and, certain type of supplementation or even like certain types of like natural holistic practices. But, again, you have to stabilize the person first. This either or mentality is honestly killing people, and the people that are still alive, it's making them sicker because it's just a very extreme way to look at things, and you end up missing the bigger picture when you say that you don't need one or the other because you do need both. And also, it's people's concept of it as well. What do I mean by people's concept of it? Well, I think that when someone thinks of holistic, they think of essential oils, tea, random herbs, and I don't know, honey and garlic. And I guess that stuff could be part of it, but it's a lot more complicated than that. You can do things like red light therapy. You can do PRP, which is plasma-rich platelets. And that's when you take someone's blood out of them, you put it through a centrifuge, and you take out the platelets and you inject it back in a certain part of the body. Anyway, the point is, that's something that's technically natural, it's not like a pharmaceutical drug, is my point. And there's a lot that you can do holistically that is a lot more than just, oh, here's some mugwort or whatever it is that, you know, people think of when they think of holistic. So we also have to kind of expand our mind a bit on what holistic really means and what it could entail. Because again, you can do something like IV NAD+, IV glutathione, IV vitamin C, you know, like there's a lot to it. There just isn't a lot of information that is out there in a very public way for people, you know, to learn about. You kind of have to go out of your way to read about these things that I'm talking about, because it's not something, you know, you would just see on mainstream television, is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense.